Maya tutorials on creating a solar system. The first one is going to be about creating our planets. The second one is going to be about their orbits. And the third one will be creating the asteroid belt and the particles that are used and possibly creating the sun. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have everything clean when we start. So we're going to go to File, Project Window, and we're going to choose New. We're going to name our project Solar System. And we are going to change our location. In this case, I'm going to choose my desktop just to make sure that you can see everything where it is. You're going to most likely want to use your jump drive or your documents folder. Now this should work in both Windows and Mac, so you should be fine either way. So we're going to click Accept, come up to File, New Scene, don't save the changes, and we're going to make sure that we're saving in the right place. So Save As. Notice we are loading desktop to the solar system, scenes, and we're right where we belong. Now for this case, so that we can work in the lab, we're going to use Maya ASCII so we can delete that CH tag that is put into all Maya 2013 files. If you have any questions about that, just ask me. For now, we're going to call this System Start. And click Save. All right, so our first process here is to create the planets. We're going to go to Create Polygon Primitives, and please note that the interactive creation is going to be turned off for this exercise. Also make sure that you have it turned off for the NURBS primitives as well. So if you haven't done that, please make sure that the checks are off on those, and then after that we can proceed with Create Polygon Primitives Sphere. And that'll create a sphere in the middle of our view. So we want to check right now we're in wireframe. If you'd like to set that up, you can hit 5 to see that shaded. Now we're going to open our outliner, which is right here on the side. Open that up so we can keep track. Notice we have our P-sphere 1. What we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 9 times so we have a total of 10 spheres. So we're going to press Command D. And there we have the 10. Now this is going to represent our sun and the planets. So go ahead and name those now by double clicking on them and then changing each one. Okay, so you notice that I filled these in over a quick pause. So you'll notice that all of these are currently stacked on top of each other, but they're all still there. And you're just going to want to make sure that you start moving them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the channel box and temporarily set them apart from each other so we could work with their size and work with their shape a little bit better. So we're going to come over to the side here. We're going to make sure that we are in the channel box, which is this upper right hand corner. And you can see it should look like this. The attribute editor actually looks like this. So if you're in this, make sure you click the channel box and change over. So what we're going to do for each one is we're just going to space it out a little bit. This is not permanent because once we attach these to the orbits, they're going to be where they belong. So we're going to change each one in increments of 5 to move them apart. So we're going to start with Mercury. We're going to leave the sun, of course, at the center. And we're going to translate this to 5. And you can see we've shifted our sphere over. We're going to do the same thing with the others, going 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Now we could have done this by hand by simply just selecting one of the spheres, selecting the move tool to the side, and holding down the X key and moving it over. And that works well, but you know, for the case of this, we're just going to kind of move these temporarily, so it's just as easy and just as quick to introduce the translate function as well as the move tool at the same spot. So next thing we're going to want to do is set the scale for each planet. We're going to want to make sure that our planets are approximately to the size that they're going to be when they finish, so we can get a sense of what they look like. Now, I prefer to do this from the top view. So if you go to your panels, orthographic, and top, you'll see that our planets are now all lined up with the top view. Now this is orthographic, meaning that it doesn't have a perspective. Everything will be the same size regardless of depth. Now we can still adjust the scale, but depth-wise, they're all going to be the same. So the first one we're going to do is select Mercury. We're going to change the scale of all three to 0.3. I'm going to go to Mars. That's going to be, select all three again, 0.8. Earth is going to be 0.9. Mars is going to be 0.4. Jupiter is going to be 10.2. Saturn is going to be 8.3. Uranus is going to be 3.3. Neptune is going to be 3.2. And Pluto, which I still consider a planet, is going to be 0.15. Now what you want to do is, if you want to, is you can actually spread these out a little bit more to make it easier for you to see what's going on. Again, we have the move tool selected up here, and we can hold down the X key and just shift our planets over just so we can get a sense, again, of getting them out of the way of each other. Again, this is only temporary while we work with the rest of the planets before we get our orbits. Now you can actually marquee select over a large group if you want to and move them in pairs. Okay, so we can take our Saturn, again, holding down the X key, move that here. We can take Jupiter, move that over a little bit. And like I said, we're not looking for miracles here. We're just looking for a way to clean it up so we can see it a little bit better. Oops. When we get to working on it. Okay. Next thing we're going to want to do is create the ring of Saturn. So Saturn being here, again, let's move these a little bit more to the side just to get them out of the way. And make sure that we have plenty of room for our ring. Move that over there. Okay, so what you're going to want to do for the ring is you're going to go to Create, NURBS Primitives, and here I'm going to go with a torus. Slide that over to line up with Saturn. And here I'm going to use the scale feature, clicking in the yellow middle, and I'm going to scale it up till it's just peeking out so that I know where we're at and get a sense of where it is in comparison. If you want to, you can actually go to Saturn, notice that it is the 8.3, click on its ring, change this to 8.3 to be a little more precise with the torus, but again, we're going to change that here in a moment anyway. So now that we're here, we're going to make sure we select the ring. We've moved it over the top. All right, we want to move back to our perspective so we can get a sense of the depth that we're going to want for the ring. Now, for this step, what we're going to do is we're going to grab only the green handle, and we're going to keep an eye on our scale. So for this, I'm going to grab the green, and I'm going to shrink it down to, let's say, about 0.25, or 0.025. To get a nice, clean ring, set that up. Now, the problem with this is, as you can see, is the ring is currently running into Saturn. So we want to make sure that we can clean that up a little bit. So what we're going to do is in the attribute editor, open that up here. Remember, if it's not there, you can click here. All right. I want you to click on the Make NURBS Torus and move down to the radius and change this to 1.5, which will make it much larger, and a height ratio of 0.25. And that will set us up a nice ring with a nice distance off of the planet, as you can see there. Okay, don't forget when you're moving all of these that you're going to want to keep an eye on Pluto. Pluto, being the smallest out there, is very easy to lose track of.